Okay, so just to go over things really quickly, this has been done through Divination Academy. My name's Paul. I'll be the person giving the talk tonight. Um, we are covering astral projection, astral travel, and OBEs. OBE standing for out of body experience. For the sake of, until we get to the specific, each single specific thing, I will be referring to everything as astral. Simply then, that way, you'll see as it goes along how we progress to each individual thing, and obviously then we'll address them individually. But at the moment, this is just going to be astral, the astral realm, for want of a better word. So let me go ahead and restart the screen share. And we'll get the show on the road. All right, so obviously this is astral travel, which incorporates astral projection, astral travel, and OBEs. We will be going into the differences on these as soon as I can get my technical issues already. Okay. There we go. Okay, good. So, journey beyond the physical realm, exploring the wonders of astral travel. Just to give you an idea of what I'm going to be covering in this conversation. So, what we have is the history of astral what is astral travel, the history of astral travel, different types of astral projection, the benefits of astral travel, risks associated with astral travel, safety concerns and precautions. We will be doing a guided meditation. We will also be doing visualization and intention setting exercises. There will also be a slide that has resources for you that you will be able to go to. That will include websites and books that I personally think would help anybody from a complete novice, somebody who has zero experience, right the way through to the experienced practitioner. So, what is astral travel? Astral projection is a term used to describe the experience of consciously leaving one's body and traveling to other realms or dimensions of existence. It's also known as out-of-body experiences, soul travel, or astral travel. Many people claim to have had this experience spontaneously or intentionally. Some even practice it regular as a form of spiritual exploration. Astral travel has been practiced for centuries by various cultures and spiritual traditions and is associated with shamanism, mysticism, and esoteric practice. While some people believe that the astral travel is purely a spiritual experience, others see it as a tool for personal growth and self-development. So, depending on where you go, and if you go online, I will tell you right now, you will find probably 5,000 different pages that will tell you how to be able to astral project in 7 easy steps, or how to be able to project in 5 simple steps. They leave out a lot of detail. Are they good guides out there? Yes, there are. In fact, one of the resources that I recommend is a website, and it's run by a really, really cool guy. He's probably got a good 10, 15 years of experience with astral travel. So that is basically what is astral travel. So the history can basically go as far back ancient Egypt. For some reason with me, everything always seems to go back to Egypt and Middle East. But, you know, that's the case with a lot of things. So the earliest known evidence of astral projection comes from ancient Egypt, where priests refer to the astral body as Ka. Hieroglyphs and images show Ka as something intangible but seen, abandoning the physical body, which is also known as Ba. The Egyptian believed that Ka could travel to different realms and communicate with gods and spirits. They also practiced rituals and techniques to induce astral projection, such as drugs, incense, chanting, breathing exercises, and even magic spells. Now, if you go onto Wikipedia and look up astral projection, you are going to find a bit of this information there. And you'll see there's actually an image. For some reason, I couldn't get it downloaded, that shows a sarcophagus with a body floating above it. That is basically the representation of Ba and Ka. As far as incense is concerned, a favorite of the Egyptians was blue lotus. Now, if you've ever had blue lotus incense, you will know that you can get high from it. It will give you a buzzy feeling. So that's one of the incenses or essential oils if you're looking to enhance your astral travel, you may want to look into. Other ones are frankincense and myrrh. Copal is another one that can be used. Now, as far as the breathing is concerned, they used to use a big combination of different breathing techniques. One was rhythmic breathing. Another is what's commonly referred to now as the box system. And as far as magical spells are concerned, if you ever get a chance to read the Egyptian Book of the Dead, you will find that it brings up the essence of Ka within there. Now, you know, we're not in ancient Egypt anymore. We're way, way, way far away from that kind of time period. But other ancient civilizations had similar concepts of soul travel. For example, ancient Chinese believed in something called the Hun that could leave the physical body during sleep or death to visit other worlds. The ancient Indians had a concept of Shashamana, a channel that connects the physical body to the subtle body, and prana, vital energy that flows through it. They developed methods of yoga and meditation to activate Shashama and prana, to activate the highest states of consciousness. One of the things you'll find is you do your own research, which I hope you do, is you're going to find that there are quite a lot of chakra-based things that you're going to come across. The ancient Greeks also had a rich tradition of astral projection. They called the astral body, and I'm going to mess up this, so I'm just going to stick to the one I know, which is psyche, which means basically soul or mind. So when you hear people talking about psychic, they're talking about skills of senses, and obviously the mind is one of those. They believed the psyche could separate from the physical body and travel to the underworld, the heavens, or other places. They also had stories of heroes and sages who experienced astral projection, such as Orpheus, Pythagoras, Plato, and Plotinus. I think I've said that right, Plotinus. But you'll notice Pythagoras is there, Plato is there. These are both philosophic, you know, great philosophers. There is conversation that some people use astral travel for knowledge, which we'll go into. However, I do want to make this clear, and this is probably going to shock a couple of people here. But if you go into the Bible in 2 Corinthians, chapter 12, verses 2 through 4, Paul describes a man who was caught in the third heaven and heard inexpressible things, things that man is not permitted to tell. Some people are interpreting this passage as describing an out-of-body experience. If you look harder in the Bible, you'll find references to a silver cord. Some people say that's referring to the spine. Other people say that is with reference to the silver cord method that is sometimes used with astral projection. So, What are the benefits of astral travel? Spiritual exploration, enhanced consciousness, overcoming fear of death, personal growth and healing, enhanced intuition and creativity, interdimensional exploration, and the mind-body connection. So let's have a look at these one by one. Spiritual exploration. When you go to, you are going to see things that you didn't think were possible. You are going to experience things that you didn't think were possible. Prime examples would be walking through walls, instantaneously, literally within a second of a thought, before you can finish the thought, traveling all over the world. Now, that spiritual exploration could be the way the astral realm is broken up. It's broken up into almost like frequencies. The lower stuff is what you would typically associate with low frequency stuff, so on and so forth. But there are the higher planes, which you will see angelic entities. As I say, to try to explain things that you will see in the astral realm is really hard, because what I might experience, say for instance, Geordie might never experience any of those things, but she will have her own individual experiences. There are commonalities, but there's nothing that is set in steel, so to speak. So, enhanced consciousness. You've heard of Kundalini awakening, the opening of your crown chakra. All of these things can be done in the astral realm. Now, overcoming fear and death. A lot of people kind of tilt their head when you say that a lot of people that experience astral travel and astral projection have an easier understanding of dealing with death or the fear of death. Reason being, you've literally separated your ethereal body or your spiritual body, however you want to word it. You've separated basically your spirit from your body. Depending on your religious beliefs, a lot of beliefs are that when you die, your soul or your spirit separate from the body. Well, you're able to rationalize that because it's something you experienced. Now, as for personal growth and healing, personal growth could be knowledge, it could be experience, it could be if you work with ancestors or spirit guides. It could be a way for you to grow that, not just personal, but that interpersonal relationship between yourself and all of your spirit guides. The healing part is when you are in, those of you that work in Reiki or that work with energy, you have that ability to be able to send healing strength and healing words and healing emotions and healing support to other people. Well, you can do that via the astral realm, and it's actually more intense in my experience. And you have to understand here, what I'm talking about here and the way I'm going through this is all from my own personal experience. Enhanced intuition and creativity. You can a lot of the time find inspiration. For instance, if you draw a lot, if you write, what better things can you have than to be inspired by what you see, what you feel, and what you experience? So that's where the creativity comes in. The next one, interdimensional exploration. As you become more seasoned with astral work or the astral realm, time and space do not really exist. And you can do strange things. For instance, if you have a relative who lives, in my case, my sister. My sister is in the UK. I am in the United States. That's a plane fare, unless I go visit her during astral work, astral projection, or astral travel. However, where the interdimensional thing comes in is, it doesn't mean to say I have to visit my sister in the here and now. I may want to visit my sister when she was 7 years old. I may want to visit my sister when she's 70 years old. I may want to visit with, if you're working with another practitioner, which sometimes happens, you may go off to a different planet. You're dealing with, for want of a better term, you're dealing with wibbly wobbly, timey-wimey. Yes, that is a Doctor Who reference. It's bigger on the inside than on the outside, but it's also smaller on the outside than it is on the inside. And that mind-body connection that it talks, that I put down there, you become more aware, not just in your mind, but things like vibration, you tend to be able to pick up a lot better. So if you're one with nature, you'll find that oneness with nature becoming more prolific.
I have a question, Paul, real quick, not to cut you off.
No, go for it.
Is astral travel and astral projection only something that is achievable through a meditation state, or is it something you can do, while you're still awake?
We're actually going to be getting onto that later on, which is a really good point. When you first begin, one of the easiest, okay, let me I didn't do a slide for it. I should have done. Okay, so when we talk about the different types of astral work, okay, one of the ways to think about it is astral projection is where you have a specific area, a specific thing that you want to be doing. Okay, so for instance, if my wife's at work, I don't want to bother her with a phone call, but I want to make sure she's okay. Can I astrally project over there to be with her and know that she's okay? Astral travel would relate to, I'm going to go on a journey. I don't know where I'm going to go. I'm going to start up in the house. I'm going to shove my feet off and I'm just going to fly in the sky, and I may end up in Saturn, I may end up in Jupiter, or I may end up in some different dimension. Now, when it comes to, do you have to be in a meditative state? No. Is it possible to? Now, I would say projection is possible while you're in a waking state. For instance, if you do a lot of driving and you get that zone, road zone, or whatever you guys refer to it as over here, where because you're constantly looking at the road and so on and so forth, it almost becomes rhythmic. It's almost like you're in a trance state. And there's a big difference between being in a trance state and being in a meditative state. You can help somebody do astral work if they are susceptible to hypnotism. So is it possible to do it without being in a meditative state? Yes. But that's going to take some extra tools. For instance, you may, if you take the crystal quartz, okay, we all know quartz can be, it's a universal crystal. It can be programmed for just about anything. Well, you can program it to help with astral projection to the point where if you're holding it and you concentrate long enough, astral travel becomes virtually instantaneous. You may have a talisman, a ring, or that kind of thing that you set specifically for astral work, where if you're wearing it, or if you're holding it, or if you hold it in a certain way, it promotes that ability to instantaneously be somewhere or do something. Does that answer the question for you?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, super. All right, so obviously, because we have benefits, we also have risks. I am going to go through these as a list, and then I'm actually going to break them down because the risks and certain misconceptions kind of go hand in hand. So I figure if we get them out there in the open, if anybody has any questions about them or anything like that, then we can go ahead and deal with them. But before I do that, I'm going to take a quick look at the chat. Hi, Michelle. Thank you, Cheyenne, for putting the link up. Yeah. Okay. Oh. Okay, so risks associated with astral travel. And I do need to make this perfectly clear. One of the hugest misconceptions I hear, and I hear it on a regular basis when people are discussing or talking about astral travel. If you don't do it right, you're going to die. Well, if you don't look before you cross the road and you just walk out, you might get hit by a bus and die. If you don't wear a seatbelt and get into a car accident and you get projected through the window screen, you may die. Chances of it happening? I've not heard of one person ever dying in the astral realm. Never, ever. Does that mean to say you cannot be physically affected? Does that mean you cannot be emotionally affected? Absolutely not. But I promise you, with all that I am as a human being, you will not die in the astral realm. And you hear people talking about these horror stories about, oh, if an astral entity cuts your cord, then you won't be able to get back to your body. And you'll just be in limbo and you'll turn into a vegetable. No, it doesn't work that way, folks. It doesn't. Your mind is your tool. So, psychological distress, fear and paranoia, confusion between reality and imagination, sleep disruption, loss of groundedness. I'm not sure whether that's a word, but it sounded good to me, so I made it a word. And if anybody asks, I'll say, yes, it's an English word. Do you Americans not use it? Negative energy attraction, the influence of personal beliefs, and lack of scientific validation. So let's go through the psychological distress. So astral projection experiences can be really, really emotionally intense and in some cases overwhelming. So some people, because it is so intense, some people might slip into the lower realm. Okay. If you go into that lower realm, you may get frightened visions. You may see things that frighten you. I'm not going to sugarcoat this. There are some terrible, terrifying things out there in this universe. Now, you have to remember, nothing in the astral realm can hurt you. Can they upset you? Yes. Can they make you feel physically drained? Yes. Are they going to kill you? No, they're not. However, sometimes, like when you get frightened, you have to take a minute to recover. Or if somebody scares you, you've got to take that minute. Now, because you're in what they call a disassociative state, meaning you are fully aware that you are away from your body and that you have no control over your body at that specific time. That is just a fear perception. So when you do astral work, it's really, really important to have that mental stability and a strong sense of self-awareness. because there could be emotions that come up that you find challenging. This is one of the parts that everybody leaves out. So, fear and paranoia. I've told you that there are negative entities, negative beings, and energies around. Now, that fear and paranoia can sometimes work people into what we refer to as a negative state. They're going into astral projection in a negative state. They're already scared. Fear is going to be one of your biggest obstacles in astral projection, because unless you've done it and realized you've done it, and I've done it several times, it can be a bit of a, whoa, what the hell is going on? Now, I'm not going to tell you that I've only had experience with good entities, and I'm just using entities as a word because trying to describe them physically, I could describe them physically as humanoid in shape, but completely clear. I could describe them as humanoid in shape, but just a glowing, beautiful light around them with what looks like stardust floating around inside them. I could describe them as a sunflower that when you look at it, all of a sudden wants to eat you. And it's like a scene from oh, somebody help me out here. No, oh, feed me.
I immediately thought of Alice in Wonderland.
I
Little
was thinking
Shop of
Little
Horrors.
Shop of Horrors.
Yeah, that's it. Little Shop of Horrors. And they look extremely frightening and scary, and they have things and appendages that wobble and snap and do all that. But when you actually stop and take the time to engage, you find out they're the sweetest, most pleasant things you've ever spoken with. And they can literally, I know it sounds bizarre, but when I say they can fill your soul with so much joy and so much music and make you experience things that you just did not think were possible, from probably one of the most frightening things, you know, your worst nightmare type thing. Just because it looks scary doesn't mean it is scary. But by the same token, just because it looks nice and pleasant doesn't mean it's not nasty and scary. So the feelings of fear and paranoia. Now, if you get paranoid and if you get scared during astral work, chances are when you come back to your body, you're still going to be experiencing those emotions. So you're still going to have a little bit of fear. You're still going to have a little bit of paranoia. That's why the pre-work, that's why the setup work is so important. That's one of the things we're going to be covering today. So the confusion between reality and imagination. Okay. As I say, when you experience astral travel and astral projection and you come into contact with other beings, it's incredibly vivid and immersive. And this actually falls into one of the dangers of astral projection. because it is so, for want of a better word, a form of escapism, you have to make sure you keep yourself balanced and that you're not spending so much time in the astral realm that you don't have a grasp on reality. That confusion between what's out there and what you can imagine and what you think you might be able to find and see and do is very, very alluring. And it can at times create confusion. Again, that is why the groundwork or the root work to astral projection is so important. And this is something pretty much every guide I see, you'll be lucky to see if there's actually you'll be lucky if there's a paragraph on this, but it's such an important part of the astral realm. Now I'm gonna take a stop here and jump to personal. Okay, to answer Michelle, is remote viewing the same? Remote viewing is actually a form of astral projection. So yes, but no. Typically, if you're doing remote viewing, you can literally do it sat down with the piece with your paper and your pen, providing you do your good plot and so on and so forth. But yes, there are definitely similarities between astral projection and remote viewing.
Is it something we'll learn to do in this course?
Yes.
Okay, cool. That was one of my goals.
You say that now. You say that now. Okay. Is it advisable? What was that? Is it advisable? Sorry, I'm having to catch up with chat. Is it advisable to do astral work when one has a mental illness? And help by medication? Okay. So this is kind of a taboo area. Mental illness is a huge umbrella. I have experienced benefits from doing astral work as far as things like depression and cognitive dissociation. However, I've never, well, that's actually a lie. I'm not currently on any medication for a mental illness. So I would say what you need to do there is first and foremost, talk to the professionals, talk to your doctor, your therapist, your psychiatrist, your psychologist. Talk to them and go on their advice. Okay, I am not a healthcare professional. I cannot tell you whether it is safe or whether it is not. I can tell you that you will see things that will absolutely knock your socks off and make you go, wow. And I can also tell you you're going to see things that are going to make you scream get real scared, get real anxious, get real nervous. So if those are things that fall under your mental illness, you definitely need to be talking to a medical professional before attempting astral work. I've experienced intense emotion at the soul journey. Sometimes lasts for weeks. The emotions will linger. Yeah, absolutely. So similarly with astral work, as I say, we have to be aware of things like fear and paranoia. That's why psychological distress is in there, because obviously these things, while not long term, they can sometimes carry around with you. So you need to be aware of it. During astral work, can a being follow you back to your body? Yes. However, they are not going to jump through this immense portal of doom and go into the netherworld and come out of the netherworld like the ender dragon and attach themselves to you. Okay, firstly, nothing should be attaching itself to you, A, without your consent and permission, and B, you should be grounded and protected enough not to have any kind of interaction like that. Okay, there is a subset of people that engage in something that's called astral battling. Think of Dungeons and Dragons, but instead of it being your life force, it's literally your energy that you're messing around with. And when you come back from the astral realm, you can be extremely drained. If you experience snapback, what they call snapback, you can feel like, I think you physically won't have been, but it will feel like you've been in a fight with Mike Tyson. But as for them actually following you back, they can attach themselves to you, but they won't remain with you on your physical body because they are an astral entity. Astral and reality or real life have a clear and defined separation. Okay, so the beings you're talking about are gods, past loved ones. What is that being? Okay, gods, angels, ancestors, people you've never met, entities you've had no idea that exist. Pretty much everything and anything is possible within the astral realm. Talking cars, yes, seen it. Unicorns, yes, seen them. Worms with leprechauns, yep, I've seen them. Worms coming out of leprechauns, yep, seen them. You'll notice if you're dealing with something of a higher frequency or of a higher dimension, just like if you hold a piece of tourmaline and then you hold a piece of quartz, the vibration is going to feel different. You will pick up on these subtle nuances as you become more familiar with the astral realm and with traveling projection, so on and so forth. Wow, these are some really great questions. Is it normal when you get scared and paranoid in the astral realm, it can continue even when awaking, aka night terror scenario? Remember how we were talking about fear, paranoia, and psychological distress, and that confusion between reality and imagination? I've heard of people saying it can. I personally have not had that happen. I've had snapback, and I've had things that have made me go, wow. And then I pondered on them. Okay. Just bear with me 1 second here. Okay. Can somebody just tell me whether I'm muted or whether I am not muted?
We can hear you.
You're unmuted.
I do apologize. My grandson has decided that he's going to be a little terror this evening.
Sounds like my nephew.
Yeah. Is it possible to be astral projecting in your sleep or dreams and not know or remember it? Yes. And also, it comes down to how many people here have had a lucid dream?
What exactly is that, Paul?
A lucid dream is where you are aware that you are in a dream state and you are able to control certain aspects of said dream.
I've done it in the past, but it's not very often.
Okay. Astral projection without knowledge, yes, it's completely possible. Just like some people, I personally struggle remembering dreams. I know I do dream, and some of them I do remember, and some of them are very vivid. Some of them are lucid, and I'm aware that I'm lucid dreaming, and I'll find that when I wake up in the morning, I'm actually able to recall them. But there are other times when I cannot, regardless of what I've done, whether it be just a regular dream, a lucid dream, or even astral projection or astral travel, astral work as a whole, that I have absolutely zero recall of. So yeah, you can do it and not realize that you're doing it. Yeah. That's part of the reason we're here, so we can learn how to recognize it. Your appearance changed during a soul journey. Yep, that's not uncommon. You can pretty much take on any form that you want to take on. How do you know? How do you know you're projecting or just dreaming? There are certain things that will become very, very apparent very quickly, and It will be unlike any dream you have ever experienced. It will be unlike any experience you've ever had. I'm not condoning it. I'm neutral on the subject for the sake of being neutral on the subject. But if you take psychedelics, it will be unlike any psychedelic trip you've ever taken. So yeah, your chances are you are going to know. And yeah, we've all had that sensation of when we've been asleep and we think we've tripped over and we almost jump in our sleep and it's like being snapped back into your body. It's like, oh, and you almost jump in your sleep. Well, that's a physical reaction to an emotional trigger. Some people who suffer with sleep paralysis also go through this. The sense of, I want to move, I can't move, I'm fully awake, why can't I? Again, come back to fear, paranoia, psychological distress. That's why I wanted to cover those first. That tells me you do it and I've done it regularly. Subconscious. Now used to questioning confirming which realm you are in or when. Yes. The more times you do this, the more experienced you become, the more aware you will become. I tend not to travel, I tend to project. And as a result of that, yes, I'm certainly aware of my state. Kate, what are the layers of the astral realm? I will be going over that later on, or that will be covered in another class. No, won't bite your ear off. You may be able to pull your own ear off and give it to them. I mean, you know, it's the astral realm. Yes, I'm terrified. I'm not trying to wake up. All things were after me. You too. Want to remember them so bad. Okay. Brandy, you mentioned in the chat that you want to remember them so bad that you don't know how to control remembering them. My advice to you would be, on the side of your bed, put a notepad and a pen. And literally, as soon as you wake up, get yourself into the habit of putting pen to paper. Even if it's a case of
I can't hear you, Paul.
yeah, sorry, I've had another interruption.
Oh, you're good.
So one of the things I would recommend is keeping a journal by the side of your bed. Now, even if you don't remember anything, get used to that habit of writing, I don't remember anything. And another way you can try to help yourself is by using positive affirmations. So at night, before you go to bed, make part of your bedtime routine saying to yourself, I will remember my dreams. I will have recall. We all use affirmations in our spiritual practice, so why not use them in conjunction with a different part of your spiritual practice? So if you use positive affirmations, like I will have dream recall, I will remember dreams. Even if it doesn't happen, still write down, I don't remember, because then between the positive affirmations and muscle memory, what you'll find is you might just get a sketchy detail. You might just remember a shape or a color. You may not remember the whole dream as a whole about what you did for that 2.5 minute dream that seemed like it went on for 5 hours. You may not remember the whole dream, but you might remember there was a tree. Write that down. And then what you can do over time is you can go back and you can monitor, are my affirmations working? How do I need to change it? What am I not getting? What should I be getting? So by combining things like affirmations, or even just walking around, I mean, how many times have you said to yourself, I've got to remember to do this. I've got to remember to do this. I've got to remember to do this. And then later on in the day, you remember to do it. It might be 2 hours too late and you should have done it 2 hours ago, but you'll remember it. Exactly the same thing with, it's all about developing that muscle memory. Okay, so via that muscle memory, and if it starts off as just one tiny minute detail, you'll be surprised how quickly that one tiny little detail springs into a whole storybook. Yeah, exactly what Andrea said. It's important to write as soon as you wake up. So literally, before your feet even hit the floor, before you take your first sip of water, before you do anything in the morning, your first instinct should be to go for that pad and go for that pen. And it's okay to take a minute and try to remember. Because then what you're going to do is you're going to, through repetition and muscle and memory programming, for want of a better word, you're going to remember, I need to write my journal. Okay, I'm awake now. I'm going to write my journal. And then you write your journal, even if, as I say, I have a question that may have already answered, but I'd like to ask anyway. Can we change our physical appearance during astral travel? Yes, you can. You can be anything you want to be. Is the simple and easiest way for me to answer that question. I have a dream and it comes true. Yep. Some would say that's intuition. Some people could say that is divine guidance. Some people would say, hey, maybe you don't remember astral travel, but I mean, you know, you look at the shamans using it, astral work to help predict the future, to stop having bad crops. You know, if you look at the Inuits, they use it for baby names. I mean, there is a whole tradition of the village elder, the village shaman. There's actually a correct term for it, and I cannot remember what it is for the life of me. But basically, it's the the community shaman. He goes into a cave and he retrieves the baby's name from the cave. You know, there are some people that believe if you head into water, you will be able to see people of the past. There are some people that believe you have to go up to see angels. No, not the case. But yeah, absolutely. Yes, honey, lucid dreams will be covered. Past life regression, visiting the past, yes. Visiting past lives or memories of past lives, yes. Would I actually call it regression? No, I would call it projection.
Okay, thank you, Paul.
No problem. I know that seems like a real coy answer. But for instance, if I'm doing non-linear, I'm going to use a little bit of terminology here. If I'm doing non-linear time work, where I'm passing through planetary gates and plane gates, for want of a better word, I may end up in the 12th century, and I may be a witness to something I have personally taken part in or I have personally done, but I will be viewing that as an outsider. So would that be regression or would that be observation?
I would say it's a little bit of both.
Right, exactly. I mean, you know, it's I find sometimes I act out while I'm dreaming. Like when I was fighting in a boxing ring, sat up and punched my ex 3 times. Gee, does that sound familiar? My wife actually about 6 or 7 years ago, she was having a nightmare and she was dreaming that she was getting attacked and mugged. And I'd woken up and I was trying to wake her up. And as soon as she woke up, the first thing she did was literally smack me square in the face, square on my nose, made my nose bleed and knocked me out of bed, thinking that I was one of the attackers. And as soon as she had done it, she realized what she'd done and she was up 2 or 3 hours while I was sat there with cotton wool up my nose.
I
Yep.
used to sleepwalk when I was a child. And there has been some dreams besides that one where I've actually taken action into what I was doing in my dream.
Interesting.
Paul,
Yeah.
what I had as an option instead of the notebook at the side of the bed is I bought a one-touch video or audio recorder, because that way.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Because the funny thing is sometimes I would, like I would wake up and I'd record something and then I'd just let it go, and then I'd go do whatever I had to do. And then when I finally sat down to log in all the entries, there were so many of them that I must have done in the middle of the night, like just grabbed it, recorded something, and totally forgot about it. So it was like literally like hearing myself talk about something I didn't remember recording.
Right, and here's the thing: if you go the digital route, and I'm really glad you brought this up, if you go the digital route, okay, even at night, before you go to sleep and before you turn your phone off and you set your alarms, having a voice recorder on your phone, most modern cell phones have a voice recorder app that you can use. Getting used to tapping that, and as you say, sometimes you'll go back and you'll have hundreds and hundreds of entries that you don't actually remember having, and I'm guessing that when you listen to them, your voice sounded slightly different.
I sounded like I was drunk.
Right, because you're in that dream state. But if you're doing it on a regular basis, as I say, that muscle memory kicks in, and you may have woken up and not realized that you've woken up, and because you're so used to, I wake up, I do an entry, you've just literally done it, not realized it, and then It's not until you go back afterwards and review it that you find that. So yeah, that's a really clever way of doing it as well. Yeah, and Geordie, same for you. Yeah, absolutely. Recording app, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, you know, all I would say is make sure if you're going to go that route to help with dream recall, make sure you get it into a set routine, literally eyes open, hit your device, or eyes open, hit the pen and paper, however you want to do it. Okay. Yep, some people felt so real, and sometimes waking up in a panic freaks me out. Yeah, I mean, dreams can be vivid. I'm not saying just because it's a vivid dream, it's not relevant. I mean, you look at psychological distress, fear and paranoia, confusion, you know, all of those you can have with just regular REM sleep. Okay, so I hope that's answered everybody's questions. I'm going to carry on with the rest of this slide. So we got confusion between reality. So sleep disruption. Attempting to get into the astral projection during sleep can actually it can disrupt your sleep pattern. Now, one of the biggest mistakes people make, and this will help with this sleep disruption, one of the biggest misconceptions people make is the best time to astrally project is at night. Guess what? You're wrong. It's not. Your golden time to be trying to astrally project is actually between about 3:30 in the morning and it's normally about a 3-hour window. So from 3 to 6 or 3:30 to 6:30. Now, the reason why people struggle to astrally project at night is we are humans. We need a certain balance to be going on in our physical, mental state. Now, part of that balance that you need is you need your serotonin and your melatonin to be kind of balancing. Now, serotonin is something that makes you alert. Melatonin is something that makes you sleepy. Just like you can buy over-the-counter melatonin. It's something that helps to induce that sleep state. So, one of the methods, and we will be discussing, is called wake to sleep. Now, basically, we'll go into that particular one when the time is right. But basically, what you're doing is you're deliberately setting an alarm for that silly o'clock in the morning time. And you're going to wake up, you're going to do something, you're going to try to keep yourself active, and you're going to relax, and then you're going to try to go back to sleep. You're going to let your body relax because of the melatonin, but because you've done an activity, that's going to increase your serotonin level, which makes you more alert and more awake. And it's kind of where you get that real tricky balance between serotonin and melatonin. And basically what you're looking to do is you're getting You're looking to get a relaxed body, but an active mind. So the serotonin helps with keeping you your active mind, but the melatonin helps with relaxing the body, getting you used to that dozy state. So sleep disruption can be a thing. Now, my imaginary possibly could be a word, but I'm making it into a word: groundedness and the loss of it. When you first are actually aware and fully aware that you have you've done astral travel, okay, be that astral projection, be that astral traveling, be that, you know, when you've done that astral work, it's almost like a state of euphoria, like, woo, I did it, yay, great, terrific. And then you do it again, and then you do it again, and then you do it again. And that's where you lose the groundedness, because that's when it goes away from, I am using this as a way to grow, I'm using this as a part of my practice, so on and so forth. And that's when it almost becomes, for want of a better word, addiction. Oh, I've got to get back to astral. Oh, I've got to get back there. Oh, it's so great. It makes me feel so good. Oh, I can escape the mundane bullshit I'm dealing with every single day. Yeah, well, you know, sometimes life sucks and we have to deal with it. We can't always just escape to the astral realm. So when I say loss of groundedness, what I'm more referring to is the endorphin release that you can get from astral travel, becoming that endorphin, that adrenaline, that happy feely goody at the cost of the rest of your life. So that's where my loss of groundedness comes into. Now, negative energy attraction. All right, I'm going to use witchcraft here as an example, but I don't want to go off on any tangent, and I don't want people thinking that I'm trying to dissuade one thing or the other. If you've had any conversation with me at length, you'll know I'm not like that. But there are some people that like to look at the darker side of things, that like to look at malevolent things, that want to look at scary things. These people also exist in the astral realm that are literally seeking out negative energy. Like a radar, they pick up on this and they get attracted to it. So, you know, always try to go into this with a positive frame. Again, this is coming up. Perpetuation of negative thoughts, patterns, and fears can have an influence on your astral work. So if you're having a really bad day, you probably might want to skip astral for that day. Simply because you don't want to you don't want to be taking that line. Influence. Which one did I put here? Influence is a personal belief. Okay. Again, this kind of relates to the negative energy. Just because you don't believe in something doesn't mean somebody else does. Just because you had one experience doesn't mean somebody else having another experience isn't valid. It's about that equality. Okay, so influence of personal beliefs. Don't let your beliefs get pushed onto others, and don't expect, you have to go into certain things with an open mind. Astral is one of those things that you've got to go into with an open mind. And finally, I put lack of scientific validation. There is no scientific proof that astral projection and astral travel exist. And my viewpoint is, how can you prove something that isn't of this world? You can speculate. You can do a scientific study, and you can, you can come up with your own thesis. But basically, scientifically, astral travel and astral projection have not been proven. It's a fact. That's why it's shrouded in the clouds of mystery. All right, so safety concerns and precautions. One of the biggest concerns with astral travel is the potential to encounter negative energies or energies. It is important to establish a sense of safety and projection before embarking on any astral journey. Practice mindfulness and self-awareness. Be aware of your mental and emotional state before attempting astral projection. If you are experiencing emotional distress or mental instability, it may not be the best time to engage in the practice. So this goes back to what we were just talking about. And to a certain extent, one of the questions that was asked earlier with regards to mental illness, and so on and so forth. Until you get that solid grounding and establish your sense of safety and protection, you don't need to be doing astral projection and astral journeys. You don't want to add to your anxiety. You don't want to add to your depression. You don't want to make, voices appear or not appear, or, I know I'm stereotyping, and I do apologize. But the problem is, mental illness covers so many different things. It's such a hard thing to specifically tie down, which is why I always say, talk to your healthcare professionals, talk to your psychiatrist, talk to your psychologist, talk to your therapist, your doctors, so on and so forth. Always seek out a medical advice, primarily medical advice, before you speak to anybody else, whether they proclaim to be an expert, whatever. I don't proclaim to be an expert on anything, but I do like to talk about my my experiences. Okay, so I got the slides in the wrong order here. So when we're talking about setting up, one of the things we're talking about here is mental preparation. So you need to be making sure your calm, focused state of mind, engage in relaxation techniques such as deep breathing or meditation to clear your mind of distractions or negative thoughts. So how I was saying about try not to go into the astral realm with negativity, because some people feed on negativity. We all know there are drama queens out there that just can't keep themselves away from drama. Well, it's the same in the astral realm. Apart from it might not be drama, it could just be pure negativity. Set clear and positive intentions for your astral projection experience. Visualize your desired outcome, whether it's exploring a new dimension, gaining insight, or connection with a higher consciousness. This focused intention can help guide your astral journey. Grounding and centering. Grounding practices before astral projection help you stay anchored to the physical world. Techniques such as walking barefoot in the earth, visualizing roots going down to the earth, holding a grounding crystal can also be beneficial. So remember how I said that you need that good solid base? This is part of that good solid base. You don't want, personally, I would advise against doing astral work if you're under any kind of stimulant, be that alcohol, drugs. I would advise against it. Now, if you're suffering with a mental illness, again, I'm still going to say the same as what I always said. Talk to your professionals, but you do need to be aware that anything that alters your chemical balance or your mood is going to affect your time in the astral realm. Part of that grounding and protection work is before you start astral projection, practice imagining a protective shield or barrier surrounding your physical body. This should act as a safeguard, keeping negative energies and entities at bay during your astral journey. Now, if you do start to get freaked out, and you have done ancestral work, or if you do deity work, i.e. if you follow a certain deity, calling upon your guides, guardians, or protective beings is certainly a way of getting that grounding and that sense of safety. And there's nothing wrong with them asking them to accompany you. One of my guides that I talk to on a regular basis, we start around the campfire. I then turn into an owl, and the two of us fly off into the night sky. I'm using a guide as a safety net, as an anchor. So those are all things that we can do. Okay. So I want to go on to a guided meditation, and then it'll be a real quick thing from here. So what I need to do is I need to drop. Can I drop? Yes, I can. Maybe no, I can't. Oh, here we go. Okay. No, I can do that. Okay. So we're going to go into a guided meditation. Now I'm going to need to see people either active on screen by your voice, or by a hands up, or a yes or a no in the chat. Is everybody at a place where they can be comfortable.
Yes.
Okay, okay, okay,
Yes.
okay, superb.
Yes.
All right, superb.
Yes.
All right, so again, this time, did exactly the same thing as you've done last time, but I'm going to go through 3 scenarios, okay? And if you have not experienced any of these scenarios, I need you to speak up either via in the text or vocally. Have any of you not had or experienced one of the following things? Watching a photocopy a document where you see the light go and it goes across the document and then it comes back. So if you haven't experienced that, if you haven't experienced being in a car or on a motorbike or in a truck, in a van, driving down the road where you've got shade on a sunny day and all of a sudden there's a break in the trees and you feel that warmth and that heat of that light as it hits you. If you haven't experienced that, or the photocopier, or standing in a shower and having that sensation of the water running down your body from your head to your toe, if you have not experienced any of those 3, now is the time for you to speak up. I'm watching the chat like a hawk. Oh,
Do you mean if we experience at least one of them, we're good? Or,
yeah,
or,
yeah,
okay,
yeah, yeah.
right,
If you've experienced one of them, you're good.
okay.
What I'm looking for is basically somebody who's never shoved their face onto a photocopier or their hand or whatever and watched that bar of light go across. I'm looking for people that haven't experienced that, haven't experienced driving in a car or in some mode of transport through a shaded area, suddenly to get hit by light as it comes through from a gap in the vegetation, or somebody who's never ever had a shower and felt the sensation of water running from their head to their toe. If you have not experienced any of those, all of those 3, I need you to speak up now. Okay, good. So what I'm going to do is I am going to put on a little bit of music. Yay! But it's not what you expect. When we're talking and at a later date, it'll get covered about different groups that have used astral work, astral travel, astral projection, modern day. The Gnostics were one of those group of people. Now, the Gnostics in particular had what they call the Pharaoh's mantra. There was 3 different types of Pharaoh's mantra that they used depending on what they were looking to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play that in the background. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to be talking to you. Okay, so you're going to hear 3 words repeatedly. It's just going to go over and over and over again, but it's going to be like listening to Buddhist monks where they go, Om. It's going to be like that, apart from this is a specific Pharaoh's mantra, which I know he's going to be going into in further details in future classes. So let me go ahead and start this. Okay. Can people let me know in the chat if they can hear both me and that music, or whether I need to turn that music down? Oh, two. Okay. Well,
If you send a link in the chat, we could all play it independently.
yep, that's just what I'm fixing to pull up. All right, so well, we have that going. What we're going to do is I want you to join the picture and the Bara Om. What I want you to do is I want you to slowly close your eyes and I want you to take a few deep breaths and I want you to let yourself know that you're going to get relaxed. Okay, now what I want you to do is I want you to imagine the sensation of water. And that water is starting to touch the top of your head. And as it touches the top of your head, you're going to feel the sensation and tension in that area start to slowly drift away. And as that water trickles through your scalp, you're going to feel the tension drifting away. Now what you're going to do is you're going to take that relaxing sensation that goes from your head, from the top of your head and your hair. You're going to allow that to envelop your ears, go into your face. And as it cools down, you're going to feel the muscles on your forehead, eyes, cheeks, jaws, and they're just going to become more and more relaxed. You're going to feel that warm sensation of the water as it soothes away any tension, any stress. And as you feel your face becoming more and more relaxed, you can feel that water just slowly starts to run down your neck and your shoulders. That stiff neck and those tight shoulders. As the water runs over them, that water washes away the stress and the tension. Feel your neck slowly start to loosen, and then your shoulders slowly start to loosen up. Relaxing feeling coming from your head, all the way down to your face, neck, and your shoulders. So you're going to feel that water slowly starts to go down your arms. First of all, you're going to feel it in your upper arms, then your elbows, your forearms, and your hands. If you feel that water trickling down, allow it to take away any tension, any stress, as you become more and more relaxed. And your discomfort you were feeling is slowly starting to push away with the water. Now you're going to shift your focus away from your arms that are still nice and relaxed. And you're going to focus on your chest. And you're almost going to be able to sense your own heartbeat as that water trickles down your chest. And as it goes over your chest, it's going to bring warmth and compassion into your heart. Warming sensation in your heart, relaxing of your head, neck, shoulders, your arms, your chest, warmth in your heart. That water is going to continue down your abdomen. Going to slowly start to take away that stress and the tension. It's going to help promote ease and relaxation. Your breathing will become more relaxed and you will become more relaxed too. Now, with the top half of your body relaxed, we're going to shift to your hips and your legs. You're going to feel that warm water as it slowly trickles, slowly flows down from your hips over to those achy knees of yours. They're going to become more and more relaxed. Going to travel down your calves to your feet, to your ankles. Feel it rushing over the bottom of your feet, and over the tops of your feet, over your toes. As that water flows, you become more and more relaxed. More and more relaxed and at one with yourself. Enjoy those relaxation waves, calmness that surrounded you, warmth in your heart. Now what you're going to do is you're going to take a few deep breaths. If you take those deep breaths, you're going to feel relaxed. You're going to become more aware of your surroundings. You're going to gently lift from that calm, meditative state. Still being calm, still being relaxed, but instead being fully aware. Aware of your surroundings, aware of the things going on around you, but still holding on to that relaxed and release. No tension, no stress, just relax. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back.
I don't know about anybody else, but I feel like my body feels aggressively heavy.
Because you're relaxed. Yes, Robin, you are correct. Far on.
I read the guy's instructions because about halfway through you made, or not half, at the beginning you made that water reference, and as someone who can't swim, my body
Oh,
tensed
crikey,
up.
I'm sorry.
It's not your fault. You didn't know, but I was just like, I can't swim, and my heart rate jumped like 20 beats per minute. I was like,
I thought something similar because I was thinking like I was drowning, and until he described a shower coming over my head.
Yes, remember the shower. Remember the shower.
For me, it felt more like I was laying in a lake or like an ocean, and it was like constant waves of like flowing water, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Now, I want to point out that what that is, that type of meditation that we've just done, is what's known as a body scan. So if you go online, that's okay, Clarissa. That's perfectly fine. I see your message. I'm not going to read it out loud. But yeah, that's perfectly fine. The reason I use those three examples is on some body scan meditations, they will tell you to imagine a line, almost like your body is being scanned, where you go literally from your hair to your scalp, to your forehead, to your eyes, to your jaw, to your neck. And they still take it in stages: top of head, face, neck, shoulder, abdomen and chest, hip, legs, thigh, knee, calf, ankle, feet. But you'll also see some where they actually do it the other way round, where they start at the bottom and go up. Well, to me, it's easier to relax my body from the top down, which is why I use the top down method. So that was your guided meditation. Thank you, guys. Now, as I said, resources. Books that I would recommend. Journey Out of the Body by Robert Monroe. Robert Monroe, you may have heard of the Monroe Institute and their work, not just with us everyday regular humans, but also certain government agencies. In fact, there was recently a big CIA leak with connection to the Monroe Institute, and they're to do with remote viewing. But Robert Monroe is who the Monroe Institute is named after. Adventures Beyond the Body by William Bulham. Another great book. The Astral Projection Guidebook by Erin Pavlina. Again, another quality book. All of those three books you could read if you've never done it, if you've done astral on a regular basis, if you consider yourself to be an intermediate, or even if you consider yourself to be and advanced practitioner. All of those 3 books, every single person will get something from, and I highly, highly recommend them. astralprojectnow.com is a good website. astralhq.com is the website I was referring to earlier. The guy has got tutorials. He goes into different ways of raising vibration, general mindfulness, and there's a whole wealth of information on there, not just with regard to astral work, but also other spiritual and metaphysical viewpoints. And finally, the astralforum.org. They offer forums, article, and resources. In fact, all 3 of those give you forums, articles, resources, as it says, for the beginner and experienced practitioner alike.
What was the second one? I didn't catch that.
astralhq.com.
HQ.
Yes, as in headquarters, HQ.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Okay, now this is a slide that everybody is probably not going to want to see, but you're going to see it anyway. Oh, no, the next slide's the one you're not going to want to see. In conclusion, astral travel is a fascinating and potentially life-changing experience that's been practiced throughout history. By exploring different types of astral projection and the potential benefits and risks associated with it, we can gain a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us. However, it is important to approach astral travel with caution and take necessary safety precautions by grounding ourselves, setting intentions, visualizing a protective shield. That way we can ensure a safe and responsible journey into the astral realm. So this is why meditation plays a part. Because by becoming in that meditative state, where hopefully you don't think you're drowning, you're able to ground and center yourself better. These are really key core components to astral projection and astral travel. I cannot emphasize how much you need to be aware of yourself before you start doing the projection. Now, when you go onto the websites that are mentioned on here, the Astral Project Now, Astral HQ, and also the Astral Forum, you are going to see guides. However, before attempting this, I would highly recommend you read all of the safety stuff that's on there too, because that's going to be important for your mental well-being. I don't want to go into the chat over the next couple of days and see that people are freaking out because they've seen a 9-headed tentacle demon that tried to suck off their face. You need to make sure you've got that grounding, that centering, the intention and the protection all there. As I said, a lot of these steps just say, oh yeah, make sure you're centered and grounded. But they don't tell you about how to do that. That's why meditation plays a central part in getting to know yourself and your body, so you're more aware of the feelings, emotions, and sensations that go along with astral projection. Uh-oh, it's the dreaded slide. Homework. As you know, this is an active class. I want you to practice the body scan method that we used tonight. I also want you to write down your experiences on all 3 occasions that you do this. Now, I want you to do it a minimum of 3 times before the next class. This will all become very relevant in the next class, so I'm told. My understanding is you're going to need that experience and that body scan method, which was why body scan was picked up and used. You are definitely going to need to be able to get familiar with doing that body scan. So I don't care if it's a few lines, words, paragraphs, whatever, but you need to make sure you're recording your experiences from the body scan meditation, even if it's like a sense of drowning, or you need to look at these different, go online, do your own research. I just happen to like the Pharaoh's mantra and I find it incredibly relaxing. It does relate to astral travel, which is why I tend to use it, but it's good just as a general relaxation. But look out and go through some guided meditations that do the body scan method. I'm going to need at least 3 experiences. Now, the next class, I believe, is scheduled for next Sunday. So make sure you have that with you for next Sunday for the class then. And it will be at the same time, 9 p.m. Eastern.
So we're not emailing you these answers. We're actually answering them in the class.
Okay. Yep, that would be fine.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead and drop them into the class chat if that's any easier for you to do it that way. But I'm going to be honest with you. I've taken a screenshot of everybody who's here. So I will be expecting everybody that's here to be giving 3 bits of information next week. So I will be looking out for them. Questions and answers. Anybody got any questions?
Well, can we use?
Good,
I think
great. I did not realize there were that many people in here.
Yeah, there's 21, including the teacher, which I think might be my biggest divination class I've been in.
Wow.
I got a question, Paul. For people that weren't here for this class, should they hold all their answers for the next class, or private or message in the group chat about answer or questions?
Just go ahead in the group chat, because all of the details about what's going to be required for the next class will be posted, including a link for the Pharaoh meditation in case you like to use that just as a general meditation anyway. As I say, I find that highly, highly relaxing. Okay, I'm just checking the messages.
Will your slides be posted? And if so, where?
Yes, they will. There will be a link posted in the chat that has access to all of the slides. There will also be, when I can get it all together, there'll be other resources rather than just those 3 websites and 3 books. There'll also be other resources that you can use. There will also be a text copy of a body scan meditation that's going to be put up, so you can have access to that, get yourself familiar with it. Maybe you won't need a guided meditation, but basically what you're going to do is you're going to start from your hair and your scalp, and you're just going to work down your entire body. But the way you do it is you do scalp, face, neck, shoulders, arms, into your chest, chest to abdomen, abdomen to hip, hip to thighs, knees, calves, ankles, toes.
I will say Shentat in the sigil class always says the head, shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes. maybe that'll be helpful for some.
Right, exactly. Shen is an amazing guy. Got a lot of time for Shen. I've many interesting conversation with the guy, and he's actually partly responsible for me being here tonight. So, well, if I have no more questions, Teresa, the 3 things that are going to be expected are for you to do a minimum of 3 body scan meditations and write down your experiences on each of those. Now, it doesn't matter whether it's just a few words, a sentence, a paragraph, a whole story, but we need to have information written down about your personal experience on each of the on each time that you do a body scan. Bex, I will make sure you get added to the private chat. Thank you for being with you guys. Thank you for sharing your time this evening with me. I hope you got something from this. I know everybody didn't get everything they were expecting. Some people were expecting to go orbital tonight. Sorry, not going to happen. Not on class 1.
Paul, I just have to say you kicked butt. I'm proud of you. This is awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I hope everybody got something from the class, even if it's, God, that guy has an annoying voice. I hope you all took something. I hope you all took something away from tonight.
I did. Thank you. I hope you have a good night.
All right, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night, all. You did awesome, Paul.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you. Bye.